Hello, this is William Reed from The Entrepreneur's Creative Edge, and I would like to tell you about one of my favorite books of all time, called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. This book I discovered first in high school, and it became a classic in my mind from the very beginning. You see a beautiful picture of the carp, and then Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. It's published by Tuttle Publishing, and the book first was published in 1957. I think I probably discovered it around 1967. The authors are, it was compiled by Paul Reps and Nyogen Senzaki, and it's actually a collection of Zen and pre-Zen writings. There are 4 books covered in this thing, and in this series what I'd like to do is focus on just one of them. But the 4 books that are covered are entitled 101 Zen Stories, which is followed by The Gateless Gate, which is a classic on Zen koans, or Zen meditation puzzles that people focus on in the Rinzai school of Zen. Then the story of the 10 ox herding pictures, which I will focus on in this video series. And then finally a collection on centering, which is an ancient Indian text. One of the things that I love about this book is the very short parables, which some of them date back even to the 13th century, which are totally fresh and relevant today as ever before. And they've got just beautiful translations, which must have been done by Paul Reps. Very, very sophisticated level of understanding, and just quite a lot of fun to read. Now, not only that, but this book has sold over 1 million copies. Some of the people who've endorsed the book, I'd like to read from the back cover. It has stayed with me for the last 30 years, a classic portraying Zen mind to our linear thinking. Phil Jackson, head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Another one, endorsement, which reads, perhaps the first Dharma book I have ever read, Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, remains a classic, a gem, a gift to us all. Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence. You see these beautiful carp, which are done in this particular edition, and that to me indicates much of the feeling of vitality that you get from this book. I would like in the next series of the videos to go through the story of the 10 bulls, but before that, just to preview briefly, the 10 bulls, or the 10 ox herding pictures as is known, provide a series of woodblock prints and short poems and parables and passages, which are done in symbolism and metaphor and extremely beautifully written. They date to the 13th century, written by a Chinese master, and probably even before that, date back to Taoist thinking. But what's really fun is that each of the pictures, which I will feature one at a time as I explain, we go through the 10 phases of this cycle, is all about losing and finding and forgetting and then repeating this whole cyclical journey. So each picture actually is contained within a circle, which is also highly symbolic of the process. And one of the interesting things, it starts out with the young man lost, pushing through the grasses and in search of something, and he finds that there's the sound of locusts or cicadas, depending on how it's translated. And then he's looking for something, so there is this sound, and yet it has significance only in that it pulls him forward. It doesn't really mean anything. And then later he returns to this state where there is just the sound of locusts, but it's all completely integrated and it's become part of his natural mind and sort of returning to nature. So this again is one of the types of symbolism that you find in this process. And I would like to take you through each of the stories. Since there are 10 of them, I'm going to do it in 2 parts. Part 1 will take the first 5, Part 2 will take the second 5, and then we'll finish up with a sort of summary of what it all means, what it meant to me, and what it can mean to you. Thank you very much. This is William Reed from the EntrepreneurSCreativeEdge.com.